Hello and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren, and today I'm going to be looking at a Fat Electrician video. This one is shorter than the ones I usually watch, so huzzah. But this one is called Chicken-Powered Nuclear Landmine. I don't know if I said it right the first time or not because words, but this seems fascinating. This was suggested, I think, by Pterodactyl. So, if it wasn't you who suggested it, thank you to the person who did. Pretty sure this was Pterodactyl, though. So, a chicken-powered nuclear landmine. No idea what to expect from this except for, you know, the obvious, but at the same time, is it obvious? I don't know. So, let us see.
Get their attention. All right, here, the chicken-powered nuclear landmine. That'll get their attention.
It did.
All right, here's the deal. Once upon a time on April 1st, 2004, the British government, aka America Original Recipe, came out and declassified a bunch of documents from the Cold War. Among those documents were those pertaining to Operation Blue Peacock, more commonly referred to as the chicken-powered nuclear landmine. And I know what you're thinking. April 1st
I don't know what
April
that
Fool's
was, so apologies for that random attempt at an ad, which I shouldn't be experiencing. Weird.
As the chicken-powered nuclear landmine. And I know what you're thinking. April 1st is April Fool's Day. Clearly, this was an April Fool's joke. Right? Wrong. So wrong, in fact, that the head of the National Archives had to come out like a week later and release another statement saying, and I quote, "The civil service does not do jokes." Which is honestly probably the most British thing I've heard in my entire life. To come out on April Fool's Day with a straight face and not as an April Fool's joke, saying, hey guys, we spent a bunch of your tax money making a chicken-powered nuclear landmine. Also, we're just gonna pepper in at the end that we're called the civil service, which literally means to be polite, because there's nothing more polite than trying to make a bunch of extra crispy communists with a fucking nuclear landmine. It's so—
Oh, I liked that. Oh, goodness. He's got such a way with words, doesn't he? Because it's about chicken. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it is funny though when because it's not the only time that it's happened, is it? That the government has released important / true information on April 1st, but it's so ingrained, at least in Western culture, that April 1st is April Fool's Day. So it's just like, what? Did they just not remember? Because I mean, the civil service does not make jokes. So, do they just forget about April Fool's Day? Because I feel like that's totally possible. That they release information. The 1st of April is just a day. But it turns out, to people with a sense of humor and their finger on the pulse, I feel like it keeps happening. It's not the only time that it's happened that they've released important information on Joke Day.
Much dry humor that it's physically painful. So what on earth would compel the British government to make such a foul weapon? I don't care. I'm proud of that dad joke. I think it was impeccable. Jesus Christ.
Oh, excellent.
Real quick, this video does have a sponsor because, well, we're talking about killing animals, which means that PETA will be coming after me with their cool, clammy, iron-deficient hands.
Don't touch me! Get your slimy souls off me!
So this video is brought to you by AccuFire Technology. They've got all different types of optics. They've got red dots. They've got variable zoom rifle scopes. I just picked one of those up for myself. They even have this super cool clamp-on thermal optics that I got to shoot last time I was down in video.
Because we don't really need the ad here, but if you want to go and see it and support the Fat Electrician, the link for his video is in the description box below. I mean, I am all for supporting the Fat Electrician, and also I don't think that code or whatever is going to be useful anymore, but I mean, I just bought some of his shirts, so there's that.
It's all because it was the Cold War in the 1950s. Germany was still split in two. The wall was still up. The Iron Curtain was still drawn. There was East and West, hungry and fed, you know, the whole shtick. So naturally, Great Britain, just like the US, was coming up with all kinds of ridiculous strategies on how to stop Soviet expansion, should it come to that. And one of the ideas they had was to have a nuclear minefield. And for a nuclear minefield, you need nuclear mines. So they took apart one of their nuclear bombs, stuck it in a mine, bada bing, bada boom, you have the nuclear landmine. This thing was going to be buried 35 feet deep all along the border, and it was going to generate a 10 kiloton explosion that would blow a 640 foot in diameter crater where each landmine was. Basically,
Oh my
Great
God.
Britain was going to blow up anybody anywhere remotely near it, and then they were going to have a radioactive moat between them and communism. Now, because the landmines were going to be 35 feet underground, the only way they knew how to reliably detonate them was going to be to use a timer. So they were going to have these 35-foot holes pre-dug, they were going to have the landmines there and ready, and then whenever the Soviets were advancing, they would set the landmines to explode in a week, throw them in the hole, bury them, and retreat, and then the Soviets would take over that area, and 1 week later, they'd get blown up. However, the problem with that was 35 feet below ground was too cold and too wet, and it was going to cause the electronics to prematurely detonate the warhead unpredictably. So the clock idea was out, so what do? You got to keep it warm, you got to keep it airtight, and you got to have it on some kind of timer. Clearly, the only thing that we can do is to pressurize this landmine inside of a fucking capsule. And then inside of that capsule, we're going to put some chickens with enough food, water, and air to survive for a week. That way, when the chickens die inside the landmine from dehydration, starvation, and suffocation, their body heat is going to dissipate, the landmine's going to get cold, and then it's going to blow up. Fucking science, I guess. This is the craziest fucking quack bang in the history of humanity. If you think Schrodinger's cat is interesting, fucking Britain's chicken landmine blows that shit out of the water, okay? You're not gonna have to guess whether the chicken is alive or dead or both all at once. You're gonna fucking know when the—
Yeah, because the boom. Okay. I thought it was gonna be like, I don't even know what I thought this was gonna be. I mean, I guess, it's awful for the like, why are you gonna torture a chicken? Let it live for a full week, and then it's gonna die 3 days later or something because of lack of water. What'd the chicken do to you? And now you can't even eat it because now it's exploded into smithereens.
The chicken dies, okay? Could you imagine being a Soviet soldier hanging around thinking about eating lunch or, whatever communists do? It's been like 6, 7, 8 days since your last big offensive when you took some land.
I thought he was gonna say 6, 7, 8 days since your last real meal. Because they're communists and they didn't get food. It's not funny, but I did think that's where he was going with that.
And then all of a sudden, all you hear is—
Did it, Patrick! We saved the city!
I would pay so much money to have been in the meeting when somebody suggested using chickens to keep underground nuclear landmines warm. Like, what was the logic that went into that? Like, I mean, fuck it, they keep eggs warm, they should work, right? Thankfully for all of us, however, these weapons were never actually used because somebody with some common sense chimed in and was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be leaving nuclear booby traps all over West Germany. And then apparently everybody came to their senses, said, yeah, that's probably a good idea. I presume muscle memory then kicked in for the British because they took the only remaining prototype and put it inside of a museum. So yeah.
I like the dig. Like the subtle digs. I mean, or not so subtle digs. Museums. I guess it is one of the only things that is in a British museum that the British actually had a hand in creating. So, there's that. I just is the chicken like strapped down? I might have missed that. Like, because otherwise it's like they sit on the egg because of like instinct, right? But I guess maybe if there's also nowhere to go, like what are they gonna do? Ugh. But they're also going to be shitting on it the whole time. So, like, somebody suggested that who had, like, maybe seen a chicken once, Like, they knew vaguely that chickens sit on eggs and just assumed that it would just sit there peaceably for a week, without it making a fuss. Okay.
That's it. That's really all I got. I guess, in conclusion, even death tastes like chicken. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Go do that. Like I said, I just bought some of his shirts. Y'all can join me. They'll arrive soon, I hope. And then you'll get to see me watching his videos wearing his merch. I'm looking forward to that. But okay. Okay. Sure. Absolutely wild. Britain. Didn't they do something with like bombs and rats in World War II as well? Like or is that something that was like made up? I would believe it. honestly. I feel like I remember learning something about they did something with bombs and rats. Maybe I'll look that up and post it and do a video about that, cuz like good god. The weird things that people come up with, like the weird workarounds when there doesn't need to be a weird, people get so hung up on a specific idea, like I want to bury a bunch of nuclear landmines. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with that word. Nuclear landmines all around the border. And so because that has to happen, we have to come up with all of these like wacky ways to get it to work well. Like, okay. And not think about, oh wait, this is maybe a bad idea and we should come up with a different way. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. I had fun learning. This is a little, like I said, it's a little bit shorter, but that can be fun. I like learning little bite-sized pieces of history, especially if it's about chicken. So thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you comment below what I should react to next. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to give the Fat Electrician some love too. And I feel like I've just told you to buy his merch like 4 times, so go ahead and do that. You can also go ahead and buy our merch. We got shot glasses for you available. And that is all in the description box below. I will see you in the next one.